know, for me growing up in an urban community, you never talked about the effects of mental health or what you've seen every single day on a daily basis, affecting your mental health. You know, it was never a discussion during All-Star weekend. Just being overwhelmed with everything that was going on, I put out a tweet expressing my depression. You know, it was just an emotional response. Really didn't expect too much of it. With me just sending out a tweet like that, opened up a whole nother door I never would have expected. Relief, freedom, inspiration to others that it's okay to go through things, to be vulnerable, to break down, be okay with figuring yourself out, speaking to other people, being vulnerable to other people. Life is always gonna test you. It's just about figuring out ways to get yourself out of that dark place when it feel like it comes, and that starts with having conversations. Some of the greatest conversations that I've ever had and witnessed was at a dinner table. It's fitting to be able to be in this position to have open heart dialogue about some real things that we deal with on a daily basis. So it's so much that could come from a dinner table conversation. I hope this project will, you know, spread hope, inspiration, and understanding that a dialogue of expressing and speaking out and telling your story is so inspirational.
I wanted to talk to Chris Paul. One, he's a legend in our game. He's bigger than a basketball player. The things he's done off the court has been amazing. You know, he's a guy that, you know, from on and off the court, somebody that you could watch and want to model your game and lifestyle after. You know, just someone I got extreme high regards for.
DeMar has been in the league, seen everything that you could possibly see, all-star, all these different things. But I think when he opened up and started talking about mental health and the challenges he faced, I think it opened the doors for a lot of people, because a lot of people see DeMar and he just do his job. You know what I mean? He ain't really outside like that. He keep to himself. He's not loud about nothing. But when people saw him talk and saw him open up, people was like, man, that's what's really going on with him. And it's going on with a lot of people. So it actually even made me feel good as a man, you know, because a lot of times I have conversations with DeMar and some of my other homies, but not necessarily out loud. And I think sometimes it makes you feel better when you get a forum like this so people can see how much more alike you are than you're not.
Welcome to Dinners with DeMar. Got a special guest, a good friend of mine, somebody I admire, I respect. Somebody I gain even more respect knowing as a man outside of basketball, and somebody I've been a fan way before I even got in the league. You know, it's an honor to be able to sit here and interview my brother, CP, Chris Paul, the one and only. Appreciate you, bro, for doing that.
Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. So, you know, one thing about this show, like I always think about when it comes to this, is people I have like personal conversations with. You know what I mean? And I always go back to a lot of moments we had just sitting, chilling, talking, having conversations about real shit. Yep. that I carry, that helped me. You've always been a person I could pick up, call, text, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And for me, that goes a long way, bro. And, you know, that was a special moment once we, you know, I knew you would have did it, you know what I mean? But I think a lot of times I'm always considerate of, you know, the people I'm close with time and all the time. So being able to do this is definitely special. You know, and kind of us have the conversation like we always have, to be able to give insight and, you know, inspiration and motivation to, you know, the viewers, you know what I mean? Because we really go through a lot of shit, man, that gets swept under the rug, that people don't see, or we just get viewed like we make a lot of money, we basketball players, what is it to worry about?
Deal with it.
We done had some conversations, you know what I mean? That even you coming to me being younger, asking me how, you know, I deal with being away from the kids, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of that go a long way. So, you know, from my perspective, like, what was the biggest mental challenge for you, especially coming into the league?
Man, first and foremost, I appreciate you having me, right? And so when I found out about doing this, I was honored and privileged, you know what I mean? Because like people say, you don't never say nothing. Right. You won't say nothing about nothing. And as soon as I found out, I was like, absolutely. I definitely love to talk first of all, because we do it all the time, but like you said, a lot of times it's not in this this setting. So when I got into the league, man, I was like anybody else. I was happy, so happy to be at the highest level of basketball, but didn't know everything else that was gonna come with it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's crazy to think that this would be year 20, and I still love it more than I did even then. But as you said, over the years, you just start picking up things along the way with you, and it's dope to have a platform to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, most of us go a long time without saying nothing to anybody, and grateful that you started this.
Yeah, and that's big for me, because I know for me, I always look at, especially, you know, the older guys that came way before me, and just always try to find a blueprint of how, you know, I can make it through. And one thing I always admire from your perspective is like the support system you always had. Like you always had your family around. I always seen bro around whenever I see you, and like to me that means so much, that helped us through this journey that we go through. You know what I mean? Like the same with me. You will see the same people around me every time you see me, and it's like, for me, if I didn't have that mental support from my family, I don't think I'd be able to, you know, be going into my 16 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Man, you old too. That's
that's
crazy.
what I'm saying.
You
Right?
say 16, but it's the consistency, right? And like you said, 16 years in, 20 for me, we pay attention to the details. We don't get to where we at without paying attention to the details. So there's a lot of guys I'm sure you could name over your career where you'll see them this day and they got these 3 people with them. Then the next day you see them, they got those 3 different people with them. And you be like, oh, hell no, I don't know.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right.
You gotta be careful what you're saying in front of these people. But I'm so grateful for my family. Like seriously, man, and that's something that I know at times I kind of take for granted, and then I have to catch myself and be like, this ain't everybody's situation. But that's always been my normal. You know, everywhere it's gonna be my brother, it's gonna be my parents, it's gonna be my crew, you know what I mean? And now my kids, man, and so I probably don't tell them thank you enough, even though I try to, because like you said, I would have lost my sanity a long time ago, because you know, you go into that arena, people screaming for you, you know, they start making you think that you maybe better than you are, but your family always find a way to talk shit to you and humble you real quick.
Sure. And I think that's the best way, you know, even for me to kind of like block out the noise, because it's so easy to get lost in, like you just said, the false perception of, you know, how we could be perceived at times. And, you know, the only way to get back grounded is, you know, through family, you know what I mean? And when was a moment where you felt like you needed that the most, where everything just felt too much, and it was a time when you leaned on your family even more?
Man, it's been a lot of times, to tell you the truth. My wife, Jada, we've been together since my freshman year in college. Man, so I always say this, we've been together longer than we haven't, right? And so it's been a bunch of times in my career that it's been a tough loss, and like you said, people see your reaction after the game, maybe when you get to the podium, but they don't see what it's like when you got to go home and you still carry that weight with you. You know, and your family, them the ones who got to pick you up. You know what I mean? So it's been many games that they've had to be there and do that for me, but especially, man, since I started in 2019 when I went to OKC. You know what I mean? That was that summer when I seen you over there at the gym, and that's when I found out that you didn't live with your family. You know, and that's when I'll never forget that, man. Like I got a burnt image in my mind.
I remember that too.
You know, because you know sometimes you just be like, "Yo, what up, man? Hope you good. Hope you good." But we stood there and talked. So my family, this will be the 6th season I done played with my kids and my wife living here in LA, and I wouldn't make it without my family.
Yeah, for sure, and I feel that, like, and even that moment when we had that talk, I don't even think I told you that. I told you this, like, I even left from that knowing like I wasn't alone going through that same thing, you know what I mean? Because when I left Toronto, it was like, you know, it's the first time I, you know, having my kids with me. It was like that was my like decompress, like vibe, I could go home and just like hold my daughter and watch them play, watch them laugh, and you know, if it's a bad game, I'm going home to, you know, crickets.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it was such a challenge to where it was like, I can imagine playing in the fucking 90s without FaceTime or something, at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm so, like, even to this day, bro, like, I'm so adamant on before practice. Like, my kids know before school, you call me.
Yep, every
FaceTime me.
time.
I get on the same speech of encouraging words, whatever. Like, it's a thing. When you get out of school, call me. I need to hear about your whole day. Before bed, everything. And that's kind of a thing that keeps me going. And, you know, it get harder. You know, we had the same conversation as they get older, wanting to be there for them more and more. But, you know, like you said, without having that family aspect to look forward to, like, I think I would have been, like, walked away from all this because, you know, it get rough, bro. Like, this shit,
Man,
this
listen,
shit get hard, man.
You get me messed up over here right now thinking about it, man, because, man, like, that's the toughest thing, right? Like, when all those years I've been in the league, even those 6 years I was here with the Clippers, and then I was in Houston for 2 years. When I went to Houston, I moved 15 people.
Yeah, I remember you
told
told me.
I
You
moved
told
my
me,
whole
yeah.
crew there,
Yep.
and people don't think about the little things, right? Because there is a routine that we get into, practice, game, and all this, that little victories to me, like, you just don't know. Like, my wife might text me someday, like, on my way to the game, or when I get to the arena, she might be like, hey, we all gonna go to dinner after the game, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, y'all, I think y'all gonna be off, so we all gonna go to dinner after the game. Like, I get excited about that,
Sure.
right? So it sounds crazy, but my game might be better that night because, like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to
You
go
got
to
something
dinner.
look forward
Yeah,
to.
I got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, so it was something about, like, when I was with the Clippers and I was in Houston and the game could be going on. You might have a blowout where you're beating somebody, and I look up there and get a chance to catch my kid's eye or wave to my daughter. You know what I mean? Anything, my son, my wife, like, that's just been my normal. So going to OKC was a challenge, and that's why I always say, man, I'll forever be grateful to Shea, Darius Baisley, Lou Dort, and all them guys. Dennis Schroeder, like, that was my first year, and them guys gave me that support system, man. But like you said, as they get older, you know, man, I was just in San Antonio last week, and it's a 2-hour time difference now,
Yep.
right? I've been in, I was in Golden State last year, and I was in Phoenix, so it was closer.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and I was like, damn, I just thought about it. Like, the time that my kids usually call me to go to school, I'll be already getting in practice.
Yeah.
So
It's a whole thing that people don't realize that, and we got to go to work and be the leader of this whole team. You know what I mean? You got to come with this positive and upbeat, you know, demeanor to lead this team, but not knowing before we even get there what's on our emotions as it is that we already got to carry. You know what I mean? That was the biggest struggle for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's. I think people don't understand that mental aspect of it, of missing that and missing out on that. Like, I remember one time my second oldest daughter, you know, because of time difference, like, she asked me, you know, all my friend's dad was at her dance. She felt the way I wasn't there. You know what I mean? And those moments, she might not mean no harm by bringing it up to me, but it kills me inside.
feel it.
But I got to go play in this game, and good, bad, or ugly, I got to deal with what happened with this. You know what I mean? Like in certain moments, I didn't have outbursts or whatever, and it stems from that. Damn the game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Damn it being a bad call. It's like, I'm trying to figure out how to get this emotion that's already on me from not being there for my kid. You know what I mean? And that shit, it weigh heavy on you.
And that's why these relationships are so important. You know, and you remember when I was in Phoenix, and after we played, y'all came over to my house.
Yep.
Y'all came to my house, man. Like, y'all don't realize how much that does for me.
Hey, we sat there and talked.
Man,
We sat there and talked all night,
forever. And the craziest part, man, is all these games that we play and stuff. And like I said, people will hear this and be like, well, why the hell they don't take their family with them? Why they such and such? Well, you know, I told you, little Chris, when he was at Sierra Canyon here, when he was graduating, I think it was from the 5th grade or 6th grade, I got to be at graduation because we happened to be in the playoffs against the Lakers.
Yeah.
And he stood up, he said, I'm the kid that's been to 5 schools in the last 5 years. And so that's when I made a decision that, you know, they say you gotta choose your hard.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna make it hard on me, and so it doesn't have to be hard on my kids. So anybody who's listening to this, like, well, they got enough money to take their kids wherever they want to. We just,
Glad you said that.
yeah, like, you wanna try to give them some type of normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the consistency or whatnot, man. So I like got the countdown right now to when I go to San Antonio for good, man. And I've been having some tough days because my kid's 15 and 12 now, and they at that age. And I know your kid's a little older too, but you start to realize you ain't got but 3-4 summers left.
You're the first person who told me that. I remember you said and told me that. It was like, man, little Chris got X amount of summers left, and to put it in that perspective, that shit hit hard. I remember I took that away. When you told me that, it made me look at it, because like my oldest daughter, she going into 6th grade next year, and it's like, damn, like she got 3 summers left, and she in high school. You know what I mean? It's like, god damn, like this, and it flies like that, and it's such a thing that get overlooked, bro, because it's like it's so crazy that even with you being in San Antonio, like one thing I always talk about Pop. Like, Pop made my transition to San Antonio a way that I never could imagine, bro. Because at the time when I went to San Antonio, my dad was real sick. You know, he was in and out the hospital. And, you know, me missing my kids, not having my kids, like, Pop knew that. You know, he was aware of that. So it was times where we played on the road. You know, we could be playing in you know, it could be Phoenix, and we got the next 2 days off. Before the game, Pop would tell me, go home. Go home. I'll see you at shoot around before the next game. And it'd be like, damn, but it gave me such what I needed at the time. You know what I mean? 1, to go see my pops, and 2, to go, you know, see my kids. And that meant so much to me through my whole time there. It was so many times to where, like, it wasn't even a thing that I had to bring up to Pop. Pop was just like, man, go home.
He different, man. Like when I signed, you know, when I found out I was going to San Antonio and I talked to Pop, that was one of the first things he asked me about. He was like, you let me know if you need to go see your family, if you need to do this, if you need to do that, man. And you know, you just appreciate that, because it's a lot lonelier than people realize. And I think one of the times that I'll never forget, it was one of those years I was in Phoenix. I might have been like 5th in all-time assist, or 6th in all-time assist, and it's like a bunch of guys was sort of bunched up. So, you know, when you pass and people on those lists, you might be like an 8, but like 7, 6, and 5 might be like 20 assists apart. So you like move up really quick. And I just remember, passing Magic Johnson. And that was a big deal, man, to pass Magic Johnson. And I went home to an empty house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's nothing on my family or nothing like that. Trust me, they always show up. But as my kids have gotten older, they got their own schedules. They got their own agendas. Like, the schedule came out, right? So we play on Christmas Day in New York, right? So you know, when the schedule come out, you see when you playing, you looking to see when you come back home, when you do all these things. So trust me, I was excited. I was like, oh shoot, we play in New York on Christmas Day. It's the early game, and we play in New York again on the 27th. We play in Philly on the 23rd. I was like, okay, cool, the whole family, kids, my wife, everybody, we're gonna spend the whole week in New York, you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, I find out little Chris got a game, a tournament starting the 26th, you know what I mean, of December. And it sounds about right, because I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, we had a Christmas tournament.
Right after,
Right after Christmas, the 26th through the 28th. And so that like hit me. And I was like, of course they got their life to live, and me and my wife talked about it. And so now I'm pretty sure they're gonna come to the Christmas Day game, and then right after that game, they gotta go.
Gotta go.
They gotta go.
That's the hard part. You know, they don't understand.
Man, I've known DeMar for a while now. We actually got closer working out together. You know what I'm saying, with Johnny. dribble too much, whatever somebody want to call him. But man, and once we started working out together, we got a bunch of mutual friends: Kyle Lowry, Rudy Gay, who is a brother to me, and DeMar. I don't even know how many years it's been now, but as people, we gravitate to people who are consistent. And DeMar has been the same person since the day I met him, and I appreciate that. Man, after all these years, a bunch of those years run together, because I did go to Bronze Camp, and it must have been that camp where we hooped with the guys. But I do camps too, but I used to go to Cleveland with Bron during the summer or whatnot, so, man, that's crazy. When you look at some of those pictures and videos, you'll see guys in some of them, so, yeah, that's crazy.
I remember coming to the house in Phoenix, and I remember you showed me this what was that bed you had in there for the recovery, right?
Yeah, the
right?
light stem bed.
Yeah, the light stem bed.
Yep.
And like, you kind of was one of the first people I kind of like start to just pay attention to of the longevity of taking care, your mind and your body as you get older. You know what I mean? I always seen different routines. I remember when you first told me you were vegan, just trying different things, how, I saw it, and I always held on to a lot of those things of just like, all right, let me incorporate this. Let me try this, let me try that. And to this day, I do a lot of those things that you brought up and said. And what was a way that made you understand the importance of just taking care of your body more so than anything?
Man, I think a lot of it came with competitiveness, right? And we a lot alike in that, if somebody tell you can't do it, you're gonna be like, why?
Yeah.
Why? And so, just hearing people talk over the years about when you're supposed to decline and what's supposed to happen, even to go back to when I was president of the union and everybody said that I was doing it just for the homies or whatever, when it was that over 36 rule. It was just that we started learning more about the body and all these different things. So guys should be able to play longer as long as you lock into it. And so for me, it was just, I don't know. I'm actually trying to think. I think it was like going to this team or that team or whatnot. You got to keep reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
You got to keep proving yourself, especially playing the position that I play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of young guns coming in year in and year out. And so what I might lose in athleticism or whatnot, I've always tried to, keep my mind sharp.
Yeah.
Try to keep like the fundamentals, my shooting sharp. Try to be in the right spots defensively, but I've always sort of just been an underdog.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to taking care of your body, you realize that's the only way you're gonna have a chance.
That's the only way. And it's like, pretty sure a lot of people gonna realize this is just how much of that like I took from it. And I think I always have this saying to myself. I always tell Cal this, like I'm trying to hold it down for the old heads.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for people to get caught up in this whole narrative, like you're getting older,
Yep.
you're slowing down, you this, you that. And it's like, more so than anything, if I'm not playing, I'm watching you play, I'm watching all the old heads that I came up with. Like I watch and I appreciate and I want them to win because it's so easy to get caught up in this whole narrative of this old shit. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you this, like Kyle actually texted me maybe like a month ago, and we were just talking about how we appreciate each other to keep going. You know what I mean? Guys like Mike Conley, all these guys. But I'm gonna tell you this, like even Vince Carter, right? Who of course I was a diehard Carolina fan as a kid and always loved Vince, but I don't really have a relationship with him like that. But from afar, I always appreciated and admired Vince for how long he played. When they show them videos of him still windmilling at 42 and all that, like there's a discipline aspect that goes in to being able to do that, and I've always appreciated. Somebody else is like that is like Cat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Katino Mobley, like Cat, man, be out there hooping with a full gray beard, you know what I'm saying, and will get buckets on you. And that is something that, like I said, a lot of us might see it on social media and not necessarily tell them. Hopefully they hear it now, but I've paid attention to guys who came before me and just saw how they took care of their body or whatnot and just saw that, you can do it if you put the time and energy into it.
Yep. And I lean on that more than anything, bro. Like, same. I remember when I was banged up and, I came to you about like, man, this should work. You know what I mean? Like just to help each other out, just to, educate and give us any type of advantage. Because like even last year, I remember we was in a layup line in Golden State, and I came to you, I said, bro, like I'm leading the lead in minutes.
Yep.
Like I'm fucking leading the lead in minutes.
You and Kobe wasn't
Yeah.
you?
And Kobe was leading the lead in minutes, and it just showed one how serious like you gotta taking care of your body, because remember that last summer when we was working out. Remember I was.
I remember that first workout when we was in.
Yeah.
You was just.
I
you
couldn't
was just
even
barely
move,
moving.
bro.
You couldn't
I couldn't even move.
You couldn't move.
Couldn't move.
And then to see you like that last season, but man, I mean this, and it's crazy. You'll hit a game winner, or you'll do something in the game, and they be like, oh, like they love to say like DeMar still has it.
Yeah.
Well, where'd it go?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Where'd it go?
And that shit drives me crazy when I just watch all of us. And the crazy thing is like, even though I'm 35 now, it's like I'm still the younger version. And it's like y'all saying this about me, and it's like it makes me even more motivated to even like that's why I always be in communication. That's why like I talk to like all the old heads, because it's like, nah, we the ones really still got this shit up here more than anything. You know what I mean? Like,
and you paying it forward, like all them guys, like when Kobe and the other young fella from Chicago would come out here and work out with you, like that's what's gonna make you feel better than anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt. More so than that.
They work ethic is gonna be because of you, because they done seen that. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna miss you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna do it, but they gonna miss you, because that's why vets are so important in the league as it is. Because the guys, when I first came into the league, I had Bobby Brown. You know what I'm saying? I'm tripping, not Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson.
I had Bobby
yeah.
Jackson. LB, Bobby Brown's my homie that played with me in Houston. But Bobby Jackson was my vet. I used to go in the weight room. Bobby would be in there. Bobby game was at 7. We get to the arena at 4. And just putting that work in and day out. And now, as you get older, right? I feel like as I've gotten older, I'm more aware of my body and sort of what I need to do and all this different type of stuff.
What I see in Chris that inspire and motivate me is like I said, the ultimate leader, the ultimate communicator, the ultimate, motivator. You see every team he played on, he pushed to get the best out of every single guy. He bring the best out of them on and off the court. The leadership that he bringing teams together, is unmatched. When you think of leadership and point guard, of the point guard position, you can never leave CP out. I know you got the book. You did the 2 children book.
Yep.
That was, to me, that was dope. I mean, especially just me having kids. To me, I think that shit just amazing, because I always try to associate my kids when it comes to sports. When one of us do something outside of sports, I point it, that's daddy friend play for blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I think that's cool. And even with me now, I worked on a book which I never thought I would have ever did a book.
Yeah, children's book?
No, a mental health book about just my journey from growing up in Compton to my journey in the NBA. Like, I never in my life thought I would have did a book, and that come out September 10th. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you one.
Absolutely, I will read it, man, because I'm gonna tell you, and you hadn't even asked to say anything yet. So I did my children's books, which was cool. I did Never Too Small to Dream Big, and I did one about me and my grandfather. Yeah. But then I wrote a book, and that, you know what I'm saying, it's called 61 Lessons from Papa. And that is easily the most personal thing that I've ever done.
And what's crazy, even that, I know the whole story about it, and that's what makes it even more amazing. If you haven't read it, haven't seen it, get it. If you don't know the story, please look into it. It's one of, I'm such a fan of so much shit, of players I look up to. I always find moments like that give to help you understand like your competitiveness, your drive, your motivation, and everything. So I always look and pay attention to a lot of things that goes beyond just the basketball players that we are. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like even when my book, talks about. It's just like, how my upbringing of everything that I went through trauma-wise was the reason I even became successful. But when you become successful, you realize the trauma that you went through really put you in a fucked up place that you got to kind of, figure out once you've grown now. You know what I mean? That's
process crazy, ain't it? Writing a book.
Bro, it's one of the toughest things. That's why it's like, even looking at knowing you did multiple books, it's like me doing this book, it's like, yo, this.
Listen, I wrote the book, and I did the voice, the audio book too.
They was trying to get me to do that, Mary.
Listen,
I didn't want to do it because I was so.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, man. If you get a chance, and I got like some videos in my phone, and I'll tell you. So the process was a while for me with my book, because the first draft that I saw, it didn't sound like me as much, man. So I started back over from the beginning and went all the way through it. And when I did the voiceover, man, it was emotional. Yeah. It was really emotional, because it's one thing when you're writing it, but then when you have to say it, it's. And then I'm gonna tell you this, man. When the book does come out, and this is what's gonna be so crazy, because I'm sure so many people gonna buy it and want to read it. Mm-hmm. When you go somewhere and somebody tell you that they read your book, it's gonna startle you for a second. Like it does that to me every time, because you almost want to sit with everybody and like, so what you think? What you think? What you think? Especially when it's that personal, man. So like, I cannot wait.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Every day to get close for it to come out. Like I feel like that anxiety from it, because it's like so much I never shared publicly.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I went through that I'm just like I'm putting out there, from a different light, and it's like it's scary in a sense.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man, because it's necessary. Like in my book, it was supposed to be just lessons about things that I learned from my grandfather before he got murdered, right? Working at his gas station and doing all these things, and it actually became like a book that was like therapy for me and for my family, right? Like, so I'm gonna tell you this. Make sure your family read the book, because for a while there, a bunch of people in my family hadn't read my book.
That's what I'm
because they feel like they know you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we know everything. Well, I actually put like a few messages in my book to my family members. You know what I mean? Like certain things that you may not have talked to them about, even to my parents or whatnot. So it also turned into almost like a parenting book. Because it's crazy, and I don't know how your kids are with sports, but Little Chris loves the hoop. He loves basketball. My daughter likes soccer, volleyball, basketball, and all this. And what I talked about in my book was that it's so crazy how my dream was to make it to the NBA, right? Like, that was my dream, to play basketball. I actually wanted to make it to the NFL and the NBA. I was tripping. I was tripping. But it's crazy, man, because I know without a doubt I don't make it to the NBA without my pops, right? Yeah. Of course, without my mom nurturing me and being there. She was every team mom, but my dad was always there. And now, like, my kids have this dream, and I feel fucked up because I don't get a chance to be there. You know what I mean?
Same,
so
bro. Same.
It's like a mind fuck to a certain extent.
That's what I'm saying, and it's like, that's so crazy. Bro, it's so enlightening, because at moments you will feel so alone with your own emotions, because you just thinking about it from your perspective, and it's just like when you like really think about it and realize that it's a lot of us that go through that really fuck with us, man. Like, think about, I always say this, bro. Like, it's so many people in the league that I know from the outside, people think it's just completely fine. Completely fine, but we know they going through some shit.
No question.
Like that, and they really struggling and really trying to figure it out. And that was one thing that was big for me, to even be able to do something like this.
That's why I appreciate you doing this so much, man, because this is real. This is real life, and it ain't complaining or nothing like that. It's just having people understand that we more alike than not.
For sure.
Right? Everybody has their issues and their problems, but I'm telling you, man, that situation as far as like my kids and my wife and my family, like it is crazy.
Yeah, man, it's the wildest thing, bro. So
When you're in the league for a long time, you know, you can have a gang of teammates. You can have even other guys that's in the league. And me and DeMar haven't been teammates, actually. And, you know, some guys you see, it's a respect. You're like, what up? But they just colleagues. But DeMar, one of them guys, we don't have to see each other, talk for a long time. But when we see each other, you know, it's just like you picked up right where you left off. You know, you call them like VCR friends, right? Because you can basically hit pause on it and then hit play when you see them again. And I watch every game every night, right, in the league, especially when I don't have a game. And DeMar is somebody I didn't got a chance to know really well, and I'm just a fan too. So it's cool when you can put your ego aside or whatnot and text the guy and be like, man, that was a hell of a game. You know what I mean? That was a big shot you hit. So over the years, I've definitely done that to him, and he's done it to me, man. And I don't care how good you think you are or whatever. It's always nice to hear that from people that you play against.
shit, this about to be a first. Yeah, like, you know, as far as us going through all the mental things we go through, like, how or what's a way, like, and this is me genuinely, like, even asking, because it's like, you know, I remember how my parents was, like, they would keep so much from me. You know what I mean? Like, so much of what they was going through. So, you know, I remember growing up, it was like, whatever adults go through, you know, you keep kids out of it. You know what I mean? You don't even, but at times you know, me being grown now, I look back on it and it's like, you know, it was plenty of nights I heard my mom and dad arguing, and I just sat in the room and act like I didn't. You know, but it made me worry. It made me feel sad. It made me feel like, did I do something wrong? It gave me, like, you know, my own insecurity in a sense, and it was something I didn't know how to go to or say certain things to. You know what I mean? It's like. Yeah. It's like, even now, that's kind of like my biggest thing being a father. It's just how, like, you know, to speak about mental health to the kids, because think about it, we never heard nothing like this when we was kids. That was never even a subject matter to even be brought up. So what's a way you think can help, you know, when it comes to kids and helping kids, because, you know, kids hold back a lot of things.
Yeah, man, I think about that a lot because, like you said, our parents, I feel like they did the best they could with what they had, you know, and they weren't as aware of all these mental health things and how it affects you now, but they did what they knew, right? And we learn from experience, and I think with my kids, I try to have real conversations with them. You know, I try to show them how abnormal their life is, right? And try to keep it as normal as possible and make sure that they're grateful and respectful of all these things. But also, I mean, I talk to them about free agency, right? Yeah. Especially when teams are, you know, this team is thinking about, they want me to come there or whatnot. How do you feel? Like, I didn't ask my kids, like, how many more years you want me to play, right? Yeah. And I love their realness and their rawness of telling you how they feel. And at a certain age, they almost try to tell you what they think you want to hear, but I want to know, you know, for real. And it's always interesting too, because like you said, in being gone, you try to make sure every conversation that you have with your kids, you don't have to be like disciplining them. You know, so you try to be mindful of their mental health in that aspect, to where, like, man, Dad always gone, but when he here, he getting on me. You know, so these are the kind of conversations I have with my wife and all this stuff, man. And I feel like we are doing the best we can with what we got, or at least try to.
For sure.
You know, but situations that happen in the world and all that, have conversations with my kids about it. Like, what do they think? What do they hear at school? You know, because that's one thing you realize as a parent. You can try to shelter your kids from whatever you want them to whatever. When they go to school, they going to hear and see it all. So I much rather them talk to me about it and ask questions than think that they're gonna get in trouble.
For sure, and I think that's one thing I've been leaning to more and more, just especially with my two oldest daughters. My oldest 11, and my second oldest be 8. And I took my 8-year-old with me yesterday because I work out so much. I get up so early. She always, why you getting up early? Why they can't come to you and work out? Ask all these questions. So yesterday, I took my daughter with me to the gym. We got up 5:30.
Yep.
Took her to the gym with me. She sat on the bench, watched me work out. Ended up falling asleep on the bench, all this and everything. So when we got in the car, I kind of gave her like an insight of just everything what Daddy go through.
Yep.
Like, I gotta go here, I gotta work out, I gotta train, I gotta I'm with my teammates, and I'm showing them how to be, professionals when it comes to, work. That's why I get up so early. And I also get up early so I can have time to spend
With you.
Mm-hmm. But this is how my day go, and kind of put a lot of stuff in perspective, for her. Like, for example, like, had her with me, took her to go see her grandma, chill with her for a second, then, I'm like, I'm gonna show her how grateful a lot of stuff she go through is. We with the Roscoes in the hood.
Yep.
Just me and my daughter.
Yep.
With the Roscoes. She loved Roscoes. So she ate, we sat there, we left Roscoe's with the Compton.
Yep.
Took her to Compton. Took her to school in my high school, took her a tour of my high school, and just gave her, showed her my old house where I grew up at. She asking questions like, what's all the writing on the wall? What's this? Why this? And, it's easier for me to break down a lot of stuff that I would do.
Yep.
To give her a certain perspective that she could carry and have a better understanding. And that's ways I kind of been, teaching, when it comes to the mental health standpoint with my kids, because I know they go through a lot of things and have a lot of questions that I'm not always there to be able to answer, and that's kind of like a struggle for me. So I'm trying to be more active and understanding when it comes to that, and giving, my kids their own time,
Yep.
And throughout the week, I have certain days where, I just get, one of my daughters, I get my son, or get my oldest daughter, or I hang with my youngest 2 daughters, whatever it may be, just to try to, figure out how to be there for them, see what they like, what they don't like, answer the questions that may be on their mind, so they can have whatever clarity that they need for themselves. So, and that kind of been a struggle because it's tough. Because, at the end of the day, you do all this and it's 3 weeks from now, I got to go.
And see, everything you just said is so important. And I'll tell you this, over my career, especially once I started having kids, I found that most of my relationships, right, with other people are with people who have kids.
Yeah.
Because we all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We all trying to figure out, I may hear something from this person that they do with their kids, and I'll be like, oh, that's dope. Let me try to incorporate that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, I got my kids are, like I said, 15 and 12 now. I got a group chat with me, my wife, and both of my kids. But there's some times where it's just me and little Chris texting.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, right, she, it's funny, Chris is going back home to basketball camp with my wife, and my daughter is here with me. So last night, I had to twist up her hair. Thank you. Put rollers in her hair, and this was like a first for me. You know what I mean? I didn't put her in ponytails and all that, but putting all the moisturizer, all that stuff in the hair and twisting it and putting the rollers in there. I hadn't really seen rollers since my mama.
Right.
You know what I mean? So did that. She put her bonnet on, went to sleep, and then I had to be at the gym this morning at 7:30. So I got her up at 6:15, and literally, man, I'm sitting there in her room right there while she's sitting there, and I'm taking all the rollers out of her hair or whatnot, and I'm just sitting here, and I'm loving it. I don't know how she feel about it, but I'm literally sitting there loving it because it's been me and her for, like a day or two, and I know people be like, what, just a day? But so much be going on or whatnot. So what you just said is so important to make sure you give your kids that individual time.
Got to, because they sensitive, bro. I think I haven't even shared this story with nobody. This was literally last week, bro. Like, you know, I'm taking my second oldest daughter home, dropping her off, because, you know, I got to go check on my mom. You know, my mom's sick. My mom has lupus. And, you know, I got caught up in working out. So it was like 3-4 days went by. I didn't get to see moms. So a lot of times I just go sit with moms at night, just sit with her till she fall asleep. And, you know, I go back home. So, you know, literally I'm taking my daughter home. Before I could even get on the freeway, I get a text from my daughter saying, you know, why you don't spend more time with me? And it was like a gut punch. You know what I mean? It was like, damn.
Man.
But in the same token, I'm going to see my mom that isn't doing good. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like shit.
I feel like it ain't enough hours in the day.
Yeah, it's not enough. And it's like, you know, we the leaders of our family, but this get overlooked so much because they think we got all this fame, money, everything. But it's like that whole drive to my mom's house, like 35-minute drive to my mom's house, it's like I'm kind of fucked up. Like I'm like just thinking to myself, riding in the car, it's like, damn, my baby. And next thing you know, it's like, you know, she texted me back, said, I'm sorry, Daddy, I just miss you. And it's like,
she trying
see what I'm
to
saying?
express herself at that age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's crazy you say that, and like even talking about your mom and your family, and it's crazy. I've been here in LA since 2011, right? So when I got traded to the Clippers, this ended up. I never wanted to come out west, right? I'm straight East Coast. I'm from North Carolina. I never wanted to come out west. Got out here in 2011, fell in love with it, right? And so now, what sort of happened, and I'm sure you done seen it with your family or whatnot, is I grew up around all my family, all my uncles, my aunts, my little cousins, and all this stuff. And I think the hardest part, and I'm grateful for the longevity of my career, but I've watched sort of like my family get older, right? Yes. Especially my grandmother, man. I tell you, man, my dad's mom, my grandmother, she turned 80 this year, and my grandmother, she texts me after every game. She called or texts me after every game. And I'm telling you, even since I played for the Clippers, so when the game was at 7 o'clock here, that's 10 o'clock on the East Coast. My grandma watched every game. Like, so now, even this past year, and she's getting a little older or whatnot, Granny don't even wait for the team to break it down in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? The game get over and I walk in the locker room and I see my phone ring and it say Granny. I'm like, damn, Granny, you ain't even gave us time to bring it in. And I love my grandmother to death. You know what I'm saying? And she'll call me sometimes and she'll have it on FaceTime. She don't even know she on FaceTime and Granny just talking, man. But it's hard for me because there was a time during the season this past year where she had a stroke, and I'm in San Francisco. My parents out there with me. My dad's like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. You know what I mean? And of course, you know, if something's going on, you gonna drop it, forget this game. I'm gonna go see about my family. But it's just, it's crazy, man. It's time. You know what I mean? And all these years going by. You can't get the time back. And so it's dope to hear you know what I mean, sitting with your mom, getting that time with your kids. And to anybody listening, like, that's it. Like, we just trying to find the time to do something that we're passionate about and that we love, and make sure that we make that time for our loved ones.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, the first time I met, you know, indirectly was I was in high school. I was at LeBron camp, I think 07, you know, and I think the campers, maybe it was 08. I think I was a college athlete for LeBron camp, and the pros came in and we kind of went against the high schoolers, and I want to say that was probably the first time, and obviously being a fan of his since he been in the league, even in college, watching him in college, so. We go way back for sure. My relationship with Chris, that's my man. I can call him anytime. We work out together. We always talk. There's been times I done went to his house. We done sat for hours about personal stuff, go eat. I definitely consider him a friend. It's so crazy trying to find a message for for the future of the league, because I always tell people people don't have no idea how like honored I am to be able to come in the league when I came in the league. Like to me, it was like the golden time. I remember my first All-Star game. I'm looking around. It's like I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh shit, CP, shit. We got Brown. We got Melo. We got D Wade. We got like I'm young, sitting here like, yo, these is people I grew up watching, idolizing, learn from, like every bit of it, and like you would never ever see me ever disrespect no older guy, because the admiration and respect I have for like anybody that came for me is beyond anything, bro. So like anything any older person said to me stuck with me, bro. Stuck with me to this day, man. It's so many even older guys I talk to that I play. Like, for example, like J Jack.
Yep.
J Jack could call me randomly, we sit up here and talk, but J Jack was the first person to take me to a restaurant to show me how to order something. You know what I mean? He the first person who showed me what couscous was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He always eating
Like,
too.
always eating.
J-Jack.
Like all these vets always show me like a different type of, bigger than basketball. So the times has changed so much now, because I'm at my college the other day working out, and when the coach was like, yeah, that kid over there, he just got $800,000 to come here. I'm like, what? I couldn't imagine being 18 from Compton getting $800,000. Like, so with that, how are they being receptive to criticism, learning from others, feeling like they know it all, having instant fame, already having, notoriety? Like, I remember days you used to have to go buy a damn newspaper to see yourself in a newspaper.
And you getting that money, and you having to deal with your family members now who know you got that money.
Money, fame, attention, it's the accessibility to everything, women, people that's just not genuine. It's like, how do us as the older guys still help the young guys maneuver through even more difficult times that we don't really understand, because we didn't come up in that type of, environment, having everything just handed to you that way.
Man, we got to keep talking to them, like seriously, and not just them, but also the parents and the guardians, because that's the thing, man. Like, I was 19, 20 when I got to the league, and I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
My parents wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So it's a lot thrust on you at an early age. And my biggest thing would be, it's hard to tell guys who ain't never had nothing to be patient, right? Like, how you tell them that when you ain't got nothing? I would just tell them guys, man, as much as you can, fall in love with the work.
Yeah.
Fall in love with the work, not necessarily the lifestyle. That's what you done did. You know what I mean? That's what I done tried to do. All the other stuff will come with it, but you gotta try to find a way to fall in love with the work and the love for it, because I say this all the time, is that I done been in the league long enough to see so many guys come and go, right? I think a lot of times these kids see myself and they see you, and they think that when they make it to the league, they guaranteed 15 years or something, but it's not, man. You gotta fall in love with the work. You gotta ask questions. That's the thing too. That's the biggest thing. You gotta ask questions. You can't be too cool. There's a lot of guys that's too cool to ask questions or whatnot. So ask, like, yo, man, what you do to do that? And can I get your number? I might just want to ask you something here and there. Like, this is the thing that I think you know and I know. You got enough stuff going on that you ain't gonna ask the young fella.
Right.
You ain't gonna be like, hey, yo, youngin, let me be your mentor. Let me be there for you. Like, the youngin gotta come to you for the most part and be like, because you want to see that they actually interested in it. If you see that they really interested in it or whatnot, you're gonna be like, oh man, damn, let me give him this time, because he seemed like he really want to know. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, man, because they got some unbelievable opportunities, and they gotta take advantage of it.
Gotta take advantage of it. And even now, like, I find the beauty in that, in taking in a lot of these young guys, man. Like, even young guys I played with in Chicago, it was mandatory knowing wherever we got to a city, meet downstairs, we're going to dinner, we're going to do this, we hanging, we this, and I sit there and I tell them so many mistakes that I made, what to come, what to look for, every single day. You know, a lot of it, you know, basketball is the easy part, but the life part is one thing I always try to teach and give them game to, because like you said, our family wasn't used to this. You know what I mean? Like I had a moment, I had to tell one of my teammates before, I said, man, think about this from this perspective. Much money you making, nobody in your family generation has came close to this.
Not even close.
You the first. So with that, put that in consideration and understand you got to be a building block from that to have people follow along. You know what I mean? Like I had plenty of uncles who had all the greatest stories in the world, but they ain't had nothing to show for it. Yep. You know what I mean? But they just sit up here and shoot the shit and say, man, I was this. You know, I played against Jordan. Jordan couldn't. It's like, what? So why you here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, but yeah, like.
The other part too is, this is the part that has really, I think about a lot. It started setting in a few years ago, but even more so now in this summer, in the way that I done worked out and trained, and the way that I done thought and operated business-wise. Like, you know, my snack company that I got, Good Eating, and I got a lot of other business things going on, but like I was just telling you about basketball, like that's still always gonna be my happy place.
Yep, every time.
Right, just going into a gym and hooping, that's still gonna be my happy place. But learning things and asking questions, man, because in the grand scheme of life, we're young.
Yep.
Like they call us old heads, but when you walk down the street, ain't nobody calling you no old head.
Nope.
You're just an old head in this NBA life,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I'll be 40 in May, you know, and so when my basketball career is over, it's a lot of life left to live, you know what I mean? So the experience that I've learned through my career and work ethic and all that, I believe that'll translate to anything I do in life. Same thing with you, you know what I mean? I don't care, man, if DeMar DeRozan said that he was starting a chef company tomorrow, would I like to invest? Absolutely.
Sure.
Because I know what his work ethic like, so I ain't never had none of your cooking, but I know you figured it out.
For sure,
I hope you would. You figure it out, but I think that's the thing that I pay attention to with young guys or whatnot. Like you talk about, if they get into the gym early, if they staying late, the thing that translate is work ethic.
Yep, without a doubt. If you keep that, if you keep the main thing, everything else take care of itself. That's one thing. Keep it simple. I always tell, keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing that got you in this position, keep that the number one priority and take care of that first and foremost. Everything else take care of itself.
Yes, sir.
First one.
Man.
Gave out, man. My dog.
Hey, man.
Appreciate
you.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
Man, appreciate it, man.
Check me out.
Yes, sir.
Check me out.
Man, big shout out to the OG, my dog, my brother, you know, the one and only CP3. Appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate, you know, it ain't gonna stop from here with us. You know, the laughs, the insight, the game, everything. You know, I appreciate that, man.
Always.
Always.
You made my day, man. I got me a nice book to read, man.